His celebrators are back on. Let's go back to Derek and to Rob.
Marathon, not a sprint, is the title race. And Celtic are the best team in Scotland, and you won't find too many people who disagree. They steamrollered the opposition this season, and from October onwards, when Martin O'Neill's team hit the top of the table, there's been little doubt about where the title would end up. A goalless draw at Dunfermline at the start of the season. There was no great clue about what was to follow. Celtic won their next 25 league games on the bounce, and even now there are precious few blots on the copybook in what has been a remarkable show of consistency at such a high level. Yes, they've lost twice in 2 weeks at Celtic Park, but the championship had already been won. This moment was secured. A special piece of silverware was heading again for the Celtic trophy cabinet. There's not been too much for the Celtic supporters to shout about this afternoon, but there will be one almighty roar when the Bank of Scotland Premier League Championship trophy is held aloft in a matter of minutes. It's one thing hitting a high level, Derek, it's something else maintaining it over 9 or 10 months.
Yes, I just think, as you said, hit right on the mark there, that they've been so the level of consistency has been fantastic. I think they got all their motivation at the start of the season for last season being trophyless, and I think that's what's carried them on this year. They've been fantastic. It's maybe faded away in terms of league form, but it's already, the winning league's a main thing, and they've been so consistent. They've been marvellous all season.
Celtic currently have a 13-point advantage over Rangers at the top of the table. They've scored 101 Scottish Premier League goals this season, and of course in 3 weeks' time they could complete a league and cup double. Although after today they will have to beat a Dunfermline side with renewed belief that they might make history by denying Celtic that double. But it's all to play for Celtic, and today's defeat will be very quickly brushed aside. And it's interesting when you think about those 9 league defeats, only 9 in 4 years for Martin O'Neill's Celtic, that maybe as many as 4 or 5 of those losses were incurred after the championships had been won.
Yeah, incredible. And you think that that result's gone now today. Dunfermline 2-1 is a great result for Dunfermline. Do their confidence a world of good getting into the cup final, but it's forgotten. When you see the fans here at Celtic Park, that result's forgotten. They want to celebrate now.
It's 3 titles in 4 years, and it was so nearly 4 and 4. But it was Rangers' title last season. It was Rangers' treble. And that's what makes these Celtic fans so happy, that they've grabbed the championship back from their biggest rivals. And it's been a runaway success for Celtic. Who knows what the final margin will be, but there's really been little doubt for quite a long time that the SPL trophy would be shifting from Ibrox across Glasgow to Celtic Park.
I'm sure Alec McLeish will be, he's a proud man, and he'll be desperate to challenge Celtic again, and he's working at the moment bringing new players into Rangers, and there should be another big challenge from Rangers next year, and he will try to win the trophy back.
It's quite a challenge indeed against the Celtic machine. Martin O'Neill taking steps recently to get some of his key players tied up on extended contracts. He'll look to add to the squad in the summer as well, with certain departures for Henrik Larsson and Liam Miller. Others might go as well, as O'Neill looks to freshen things up. Henrik Larsson leads the match. Another sensational season for Celtic's record goal scorer. scored again this afternoon, did his damnedest to make sure Celtic didn't lose, as eventually they did. It's another championship winning medal for Henrik Larsson on the afternoon in which he scored his 238th career Celtic goal.
I think it's a nice gesture, Rob, if Henrik's going to pick the trophy up in his final season here. The trademark goal from him today again, and I think it'll be an emotional day for him. He'll miss this place.
Celtic have used just short of 30 players this season in winning the title, and those such as Ulrik Larsson will take their place as well on the podium and share in the joy that only a title win brings.
To think, Rob, that we played 35 games, and I know how tired some of our players are at Thistle at the moment. These guys have played 61 games. It's quite remarkable that energy levels and fitness levels it's a big well done to them, because it's a big achievement.
Yeah, it's certainly 61, Derek, by the time the season's over, by the time the Tennant Scottish Cup final rounds off the Scottish season, and Celtic by then will have crossed that 60-game barrier. It's been pretty arduous, pretty exhausting, and they're the pair who I reckon are going to collect the trophy. Paul Lambert, today's captain, Jackie McNamara, who's worn the skipper's armband as well at times this season, on his way to the Football Writers Player of the Year award, which he will receive next weekend, and I think between them they will hold the trophy aloft, getting their instructions ahead of the ceremony. Martin O'Neill gets the massive reception you would expect, and there'll be some disappointment with him undoubtedly at the moment, on the back of a defeat against Dunfermline and against Aberdeen just 11 days ago. Steve Walford gets his medal as well, and John Robertson, the Scotsman, the Englishman and the Irishman, the management team, and the joint skippers, Paul Lambert and Jackie McNamara. It's almost time. It's almost trophy time. And just wait for the noise. Countdown. It wouldn't be the same without Howard and Angela. Celtic are champions again. The third time in 4 years since Martin O'Neill took over as manager. And of course they were only a goal away last season from 4 out of 4. Not quite total domination, but not far from it. And who is going to derail the Celtic bandwagon? The bookies have them installed already as odds-on favourites to do it all over again next season. It's a remarkable success story, and it promises to continue.
There's the man there, Rob. He's been fantastic, hasn't he, for Celtic Football Club, and I think an indication that the players sign on, Sutton and that signing again, and Thompson, maybe some indication that Martin will be staying on here, and I'm sure the Celtic fans will hope he stays on. The whole management team, in fact, to John Robertson as well, they're all there, you know.
A special moment as he prepares for his Celtic farewell for Henrik Larsson, who holds aloft another piece of silverware. Pretty agat. Sometimes a frustration to the Celtic supporters. Alan Thompson has had a sparkling season. Bobo Baldi, the rock at the centre of the defence. Rob Douglas, for so long the first choice goalkeeper, until this young man came along. What a season for David Marshall, just 19. Stan Varga, a revelation. This is 52nd game of the season. He couldn't get a game for Sunderland.
Yeah, this man, the player of the year, Chris Sutton, for me, has been the best player by a mile. He's been fantastic in every position he's been asked to play.
Stephen Pearson has moved up to a new level since leaving Motherwell, the young player of the year. Ross Wallace, one of the teenagers for whom opportunity will knock shortly. Sean Maloney, his season ended early by injury. Let's hope he's back, bigger and better than before, and he was highly promising then. Liam Miller holds the trophy prior to his departure for Old Trafford. He'll hope for further winners' medals there. Stephen McManus, will he stay, will he go? Johan Mjalby heading for Euro 2004, but maybe heading for the Celtic exit door. Ulrich Larsson, a frustrating season, plagued by injury. Jamie Smith has broken back into the first team in the last few weeks. Craig Beattie, what will his future hold? Hugely promising.
Young Aiden desperate to get his hands on it there. He's got his hands on the trophy at last.
18-year-old Aidan McGeady, what an end to the season for him, with starts at Tynecastle and here. Momo Sila gets his hands on the trophy, a bit part player this season. John Robertson and Martin O'Neill. The management team have done it again. Is there more success to come from those three? If they stick together here, you would imagine so. They really are a special cocktail. Robertson, Walford and O'Neill. Prolonged success over the last 4 years at Celtic with Martin O'Neill at the helm. He drives Celtic onward and onward, and uppermost in his thoughts now will be the Champions League next season. That's where he wants to go, and he wants to be even more successful than Celtic have been in Europe already. And Martin O'Neill and Paul Lambert having a word with the Celtic supporters.
I know you're going to celebrate tonight, but obviously the possibility of a double.
Yes, it's something we have to try and achieve. It's important we go out in the summer with a high, and I'm sure if we can play the way we can, a little bit better than today, we'll hopefully win this cup final for you.
Absolutely. Paul Lambert, thanks very much. Go and enjoy yourself. Thank you. Paul Lambert.
Paul Lambert with his hopes for a league and cup double. Let's hear from Jackie McNamara.
Jackie, congratulations. You would love to be playing today. Defeat nevertheless, but it's about a fantastic season, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been great. Good to to win the league the way we did. Obviously disappointing with the result today, but took a gloss a wee bit. But we've made the hard work earlier on in the season. It's good to get it finished today.
Frustrating for you to look on and see your team defeated today. What's going wrong?
No, I mean there's been injuries and what have you, but give Dunfermline credit. They did well today, but it's a long season and hopefully be right for the final.
And congratulations to you. You've been named Scottish Football Writers Association Player of the Year. You've been a fantastic year, haven't you?
It's been great, and so good to feel part of it, especially after the last couple of seasons. It's been a big bonus playing as many games this year, and I'm delighted to win the award. I'm very proud.
Congratulations, well done, Jackie.
Yes, a season to remember for Jackie McNamara, the Football Writers Player of the Year. Chris Sutton, of course, the PFA Player of the Year. All in a season when Henrik Larsson, well, he just did what Henrik always does. Just the 37 goals in 55 games. That's obviously not enough to win an award, Gordon. It's a backhanded compliment, really, isn't it?
And that's what it is. It's a backhanded compliment. It's also a hell of a mess for the groundsman to clear up tomorrow morning. Billy, what a party for Celtic. It has been a great season for them overall. I think you have to say that Martin O'Neill is way up there in the estimation of the fans.
Oh, of course. It's been an absolutely magnificent season. I mean, you've got to take and forget about the last couple of games. The league had been won by then. All the hard work was done earlier on. It was done with a purpose. It was done with a flourish. It was done in a magnificent style. And that is a barometer of how well you've played. I always used to think that playing in the cup final was a wonderful finish to the season, a wonderful aspect if you win it. It's still there for Celtic to go and win. This will be a little warning light that they've got to play better than they played today and hope that Dunfermline don't play well.
And huge encouragement for Dunfermline, Billy.
Well, it is, absolutely. I think we spoke about that earlier, that not having won or beaten Celtic in Jimmy Calderwood's time, they've crossed that psychological barrier. and they'll feel a bit more buoyed by that and feel that they've got a chance in the cup final. But I think Celtic, with their big players back and the wee fright that they've had, as Billy says, in the cup final, it's a special day, and certainly the edge will be there on the day, and you would still make them favourites to win the cup.
A massive cheer for Larsson there, but the second biggest cheer was for Martin O'Neill. Where will he be in the history of Celtic when the history books are written?
Well, I mean, we have a great, successful Celtic manager sitting beside us today, and Martin O'Neill, in the short space of time that he's been there, has done absolute wonders. There's no doubt about that. I think you have to put it in context and look at the position Celtic were in when he went there. He's built a team, and it's a team that's strong and look as if they can go on for a while yet.
Well, Martin O'Neill is speaking to the fans just now. Let's hear from him.
I just obviously it's great to see the people still waiting around. There's, I think, Stilly and Petrov been let off. But it's great to see you stay on for the celebrations. We appreciate that. There's some of you might have decided that you might have just dropped on home, but I'm pleased you've stayed. First of all, just a really big thank you from everyone in the dressing room for your fantastic support this season. Thank you very much. And as you said, we still have the Scottish Cup final to look forward to. And as you mentioned, Champions League next season. Thank you.
Martin O'Neill,
he likes to speak to the fans when he gets the chance, but he's a great communicator. I mean, he has galvanised this club, hasn't he?
He has indeed. The affection is there simply because he shows his love of it. He shows his love of the results he achieves, and he's achieved some fabulous results since he came here. I think winning the league in such a magnificent fashion this season was absolutely exceptional.
Just take a step back, Billy, and have a look at the context of Scottish football as it is now. We've got the financial problems and a power shift where Rangers had the title within their fingers every year, without exception, under Smith. Things have moved on from there. Martin O'Neill broke that power struggle there. Rangers have to grab it back from them, but they may not have the resources to do it as long as this man's around.
Well, that's right. The financial situation over at Ibrox doesn't bode well in terms of the quality of player that Alec would like to bring in, I'm sure. But such is the passion and the ferocity of the vengeance between the two. I think that Rangers will always challenge. There's no doubt about that. I think it's difficult to call just now. Celtic have been installed as favourites. There's no doubt about that. But who knows who Alec can bring? Celtic lose Larsson. Those two things might just balance things out a wee bit.
OK, well, Chick Young has now managed to speak to the great man himself. Here he is.
Yeah, it's very satisfying season for you. Just maybe the one disappointment, I suppose you got a little bit further in Europe, but that's a measure of the standards you've set.
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, we've got automatic qualification now for Champions League. We'll play a few games in it next season. Obviously, the appetite from the fans has been whetted now, and you like to try and push on, but that's always in the future. Like anything else, you start afresh next season again, and you're going to try and do as well as we've done this year. That's going to be hard. Rangers are going to be stronger again, like everything else. But overall, might as well enjoy it now. These things are very ephemeral, and last season was a disappointment in terms of a trophy. We might as well enjoy it.
You realise, obviously, that's how special this club is, the atmosphere inside here.
Without a doubt, Chick. I mean, they could easily have decided to disappear. Bit of disappointment today. Didn't play particularly well. In fact, we didn't play well at all. But didn't play particularly well against Aberdeen. But there you go. We won in 32 games, and I think that's the measure of the team. Honestly, some of the boys didn't even want to come out here, having been disappointed. So, it gets to a ridiculous stage. They've been fantastic. The supporters have been magnificent. Yeah, and to spend all the money that they have done travelling back and forward to European matches all over the place, I take my hat off to them.
Go and enjoy the party, Martin. I think you're due.
Thanks, Chick. Thank you very much.
And the celebrations just go on, Billy, at Celtic Park. Now, you've been involved in a few of these, both as a player and as a manager. What does it mean to the players after that effort?
It means an awful lot to the players. I think Martin's right there and says it just indicates how powerfully the players feel about their success, that they didn't want to come out. having been defeated on this particular day. But it's happened before. I mean, I remember in '67 Dundee United beat us when it was a gala day. They weren't supposed to do that, but they did it. Nobody told them what they should have been doing, what they shouldn't have been doing. That's what's happened. You know, they've switched off just a little bit. You know, the Rangers game coming up next week is going to be a real bonus to them, because that's going to, you can never disregard an Old Firm game.
And reflecting back on playing days, Billy, it must be the sweetest moment of all to hold a trophy like that aloft.
Well, it is, absolutely. I mean, the cup final is a special day, and it's great to win cups, but when you sit back after you've stopped playing, it's league championships, you think through long hard seasons and how you achieved it, and that's the most satisfying part for players, no doubt about it. It's
an expensive pastime for fans to go week in, week out. They have to fork out a lot. It says a lot for the Celtic faithful that there's 60,000 in that stadium every week.
Well, I mean, that's guaranteed, isn't it? If the stadium was bigger, it would still be full, don't worry
and
about that.
Yet it wasn't all that way in Scottish football. It wasn't always that way. Through the 70s, early 80s, we had a real slump in attendances, but the Celtic fans have stuck through this team through thick and thin. Now they're enjoying some good times.
Well, I think they are the most loyal, but I think what you've spoken about in the last few years, Martin O'Neill has to take the credit for that as manager. He's guided them into the position where they sell out every week and they're winning trophies.
So what next for Martin O'Neill, Billy? He's got to do some thinking about what he does with his squad, and I'm sure the phone will be red hot in the next few weeks from other clubs.
Well, it's very interesting, because obviously he's outlaid that he thinks he's entitled to get, what was it, 5 or 6 players that he wanted to strengthen his side again. You know, I would love to see that happening, because I think the time that you want to strengthen is when you are at your best, and Celtic have been at their best this season. So if they can strengthen, add another few players, really quality players to it. They've obviously got the slight problem of replacing Henrik Larsson, which won't be easy by any manner of means. I don't think money is the answer to that one, because goodness knows where you're going to get someone who's flourished as much as he has. I wouldn't honestly know where you're going to get somebody who's going to do the things that this fella has done at Celtic Park.
And Henrik Larsson will be in the back pages of all the papers tomorrow, but in terms of where he goes next season, well, I suppose the Celtic fans want to wish him well, but Billy, what they really want to know is who wears that number 7 shirt.
Yeah, and I think it's impossible. I wouldn't like to be the guy that tries to fill that jersey. There's been some tremendous players over the years, going back to Jimmy Johnston, that have worn that shirt.
Kenny Dalglish as well.
Kenny Dalglish, obviously, but I think, you know, none of them in terms of what they've done for Celtic can surpass Henrik Larsson. I think the statistics bear that up, but you know, I think it's impossible to fill them. I think it's going to take 2 or 3 players in terms of the chemistry of the team to fill the void. I don't think one individual can do it.
And from the youngsters you've seen this season, Billy, is there enough of a nucleus of new players to do what Alex Ferguson did at Manchester United, bring in a new breed, a new team?
Well, I think there's lots of good young players there. The unfortunate thing was John Kennedy, obviously, he's got a long-term injury. Maloney's got a long-term injury, but there are other ones. We've seen McGeady, and there are more than that. Beattie has shown an awful lot of promise in that reserve team as well. The young goalkeeper has been a real bonus. I mean, I would think that he can stand up to anyone, and he'll be fighting for the first team spot rather than learning the game, as it were. But there are some very good players and some very good prospects coming through, yeah.
And of course we've got the likes of Hartson sitting in the sidelines wanting to play in the cup final if he's fit.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a man to bring back and strengthen you. I think, you know, we've seen McNamara's and players like that have been injured. That's another one that Hartson could be put out of the bag for the cup final, and I don't think any defender relishes playing against John Hartson.
You see another side of the players there, Billy. They've all got their kids with them. I don't think Bobo Baldi's ever gone into a tackle as if he's holding a child.
Well, Big Jock he didn't allow the wives into the stadium, never mind the children. So we wouldn't have been seen in the park in our day. But it is nice. I think it is nice, because football has developed into much more of a family atmosphere. And one of the things that was significant in Seville last year was it was families that were there. Lots of young kids were there. It was terrific to see. Apart from anything else, they're the future Celtic supporters, and they're getting brought up in the proper fashion.
And 80,000 fans, no arrests, said a lot for the family atmosphere.
It did, and you know, obviously you can see it there. The fans are probably disappointed that they didn't win on that day, but that is not a trophy that is issued in one day. That's a trophy that's played for throughout the season, and you know, they merited it. I mean, they won it so well, it's frightening.
We'd rather take it for granted in Scotland, Billy, that Rangers or Celtic, with the exception of the 80s when Dundee United and Aberdeen broke the stranglehold, are going to lift the championship every year. For some of these players, it is their last opportunity to hold a piece of silverware. They will be leaving.
Well, I think so, yeah. I mean, I think one or two are moving into the veteran stage. Martin O'Neill will look to freshen it up, because I think when you've been successful, you must add players at the right time, and he's obviously said that he's looking to do that. He's hoping to get the finance to bring the right type of player. That's the important thing. It's not squad players that he's looking to bring. It's one or two that's going to come into the team and freshen it and allow Celtic to keep the momentum building in European terms.
Well, it's been a day of celebration at Celtic Park. Perhaps the script wasn't quite the way they expected it to be. Dunfermline had something to say about that. It's Celtic 1, Dunfermline 2. In 2 weeks' time, I do trust you'll join us for Henrik Larsson's swan song. But from all of us in the studio, from the Three Billies, a very good afternoon to you.